Hello, everybody. It's me. I want you to know that I am thinking of you guys and I miss you so very much. And I can't wait to be back hanging out with you guys in class. So I wanted to do a little intro video about creating blocking. I know it can be or seem a little intimidating, but I'll help you kind of break it down. And you guys are lucky enough that you actually have Hannah and you also have Drama 3 who has all three of them have worked with and created their own blocking. So they are at your disposal. They are there to help you in any way that they can. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so I can show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so you guys are going to see this on Canvas. And it has to do just an introduction to blocking. So what is blocking? You guys have worked with blocking in Drama 1, if I had you in 8th grade, which a lot of you I did, is just any movement that is going on stage. Now, since you're the director now, you are in the director's chair for this project, you essentially, it's your job to create blocking. Keeping in mind that, you know, any type of movement or stage directions that the playwright had put in your script, you do kind of want to pay attention to that. They put it there for a reason, and the way that I've always taught you guys is to trust what the playwright says or what they have in their script. Now, a couple things, a little bit of a reminder that I think Hannah is going to be doing with you guys is just kind of how the stage is laid out. So I gave you a little diagram here. All these little bubble looking things, these are your people, your audience, okay? So kind of put this in context of our auditorium. So that's the house, that's where you're probably sitting right now, if you're at school. And then on stage, it's just basically how the stage is laid out that we have worked with before. So you have center stage, right smack in the middle. You have downstage, which is closest to the audience. You have downstage right, downstage left, downstage center. So if you remember, if you are facing the audience and you stick your right arm out, you are pointing to stage right. Okay, same goes for stage left. You guys know where that is. Now up here, we haven't really worked with these two a whole lot, but if this is center stage, you have center right and center left. So we're starting to get a little more specific in the layout of our stage because you have to be as specific as possible when you are creating blocking. All right, and then you have upstage, because if you have downstage, you have upstage. You have upstage center, up right, and then up left, okay? And then of course you have our apron that's left out on this diagram, but you know where it is. Okay, so something I want you to notice is that whoever made this diagram, it must have been some kind of director, they didn't write out center stage the full term. They kind of just shortened it just with C, right? Same with, you know, down center, because that takes a while to write down. And that can get annoying, especially if you have to write that a whole lot. So what you're going to do is basically just shorten these terms to kind of how they did it here. You are upright, you see up center, and I actually wrote them all down for you over here. So honestly, the reason that we do this is just because it can get really frustrating and kind of messy and kind of annoying to write out the whole term. So we're kind of lazy in that sense that we just shorten it, okay? I highly recommend it, especially if you have a scene with a lot of blocking, a lot of movement. Okay, so not only are we doing shorthand for the different spots on stage, but something I want you to keep in mind is also doing shorthand maybe for your characters that are in your scene. So I'm gonna show you kind of what that looks like. So if you scroll down, this is just the general outline of kind of how I map out my director's notebook. So this is actually a notebook of mine. It's probably at school in my office. if you look on the left side of my binder, I have just one page from my script, just one. Reason being, you don't want to have too much and then it's just unorganized and then it's just kind of a mess. So just one page at a time, okay? So on the left, I have one page of my script, and on the right, that's where I actually write down all the blocking, all the stuff that's happening on that one page, okay? So I'm gonna actually scroll down and I'm gonna show you an example. Now this is from Rabbit Hole. You guys had read through this kind of, the beginning of this scene. So that's why I kind of brought it back, because it's kind of familiar to you. Now in this scene, you have Howie and Becca. Now if you remember, the two of them, they're married and they just went through something really super, super traumatic. They lost their son, I wanna say about a year ago, maybe a year or two, if my memory serves me right. And he was young, you know, he was little, his name was Danny. So in this scene, Howie starts off and he is sitting watching TV. He is watching a video of his son. Must have been just like a day at the park or just a good day that he videotaped when Danny was alive. And all of a sudden, the video cuts out and he sees some kind of documentary come up. So he kind of puts two and two together and realizes someone or something happened where his video got taped over and now he's panicking. So I just have one page. This is page 59 in the script. So picture this as my binder. So on the left, I have my script, and on my right, I just have my blocking. So it tells you what is going on in this page. So something I want you to notice, number one, is that I notated where blocking's happening in order. So you can see number one right here, that is my first piece of blocking. It's the first time in this scene or on this page that someone is moving. Okay, so I marked it, number one, it happens right on this line right here. Howie says, what is this? Becca? Becca? So on number one, Howie is standing up from the couch, and the couch is center stage, okay? Super, super simple. Now, way back when, I had told you that you're gonna shorten the characters' names, and that's what this is right here, where it says H1. Now, H is for Howie, obviously, but the one just means that's the first time that he's moving at all. It just kind of keeps everything in order, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. If I scroll down a little bit, I actually gave you a picture of my really simple set, okay? So H1, that's where he is right now. So all he's gonna do is just stand up in that one spot, okay? So if I scroll back up, number two, okay? Number two, Becca enters from upstage right and crosses center to Howie, okay? So on the line where Howie says, what did you do here, Becca? She enters from upstage right. Okay, that's kind of where I assume the stairs are, because it says she comes down a set of stairs. And she crosses from here to here, just kind of inching closer to get a look at what Howie's talking about. So from B1, Becca 1, to Becca 2, okay? Now, number 3, so Howie's still panicking, and Becca goes, what's the matter? Becca's gonna cross center stage closer to Howie. So if I scroll back down, I know I'm making everybody dizzy. She goes from here to here. So if you think about it, this is more like a stage right, but she's crossing center to Howie to talk to him and say, what the heck is going on, okay? Okay, and then the last piece of blocking that I have, number 4, Howie says, the television, what is this? So Howie finally moves. So H1 to H2, Howie crosses down stage center to the TV. So H1, where he started, right, he was standing up, to H2, he crosses down stage center to the TV. To kind of point at the TV and say, what the heck did you do? What happened? Now, a couple things that I want you to pay attention to. I want you to notice that I had one page of the script on the left side of my binder, right? And then on the right side is where I had all the blocking and the movement for that one page. Next, I want you to notice that, I just said that, had blocking on the right side, okay? Notice that I numbered every time some kind of movement occurred. So that is super, super important because it keeps everything organized. So number 1, that's where the first piece of movement was. Number 2, number 3, and then number 4, okay? And then last but not least, notice that I shortened the characters' names where I was explaining what they were doing. So H was for Howie, B was for Becca. Same reason as before, it's easier for you to, it's quicker for you to notate and it's less messy, especially if you're doing like a Shakespeare show and the characters have really long names. That could get really annoying and messy to keep track of. So that's why we kind of shortened those two. Okay. Now, not everyone that has worked on this project is a visual learner. So, I mean, I always do a diagram, which you do have to draw out your set. So it might just be beneficial for you to do it. But if you're not a visual person, this doesn't help you at all. You don't have to do this part right here, but I would recommend you do this here, just numbering where everything happens and then writing out what is happening. Okay, sometimes people could just get away with that and they don't need to see a picture of the set or anything, and that's totally fine. So if you guys need any help, again, you have Miss Hannah, who she has a bunch of experience working with blocking, whether it was with me or it was, you know, Mill Mountain or just creating her blocking herself, because she's done this project too. Or Drama 3, they've also done a wonderful job on this project, creating their own blocking. Pick their brains, use them. They are awesome, okay? And y'all are awesome too, and I miss you and I love you. So if you have any questions, just ask, or you can even try to email me. I might not get back to you as fast as they would, but I'm always here if you need me. All right, well, I love you. Goodbye.